What's up, everybody? I'm Guy Wozniak. You're watching the Comic Book Guy channel, and with me, as always, is my good friend and co-host, Matt.
Hello.
And yes, we are the Comic Book Guys, back at it again with some more required reading. We did an episode of this, one of our very, very early episodes, maybe the second or third one. Matt said, hey, I got some more books to suggest, so here we are today. Why don't you go ahead and kick it off, buddy?
Yeah, these are just really great stories that if you haven't read, you really need to. This is good stuff, and I love, passing along to, other comic fans stuff that maybe they're not aware of, that, hey, you know what? These are little really good gems, and you need to pick these up. They're a really good read. You'll enjoy them.
Yeah, nothing's better than going into like a comic book store, talking to a comic buddy and being like, hey, have you read this yet? And you're like, no, what's that? And, you get something awesome. So hopefully this delivers for you guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
Kick it off with your number one, sir.
Okay, so I'm sure everybody's aware of this one. This is a no-brainer. It's the Daredevil Born Again storyline.
Great stuff.
Great stuff by Frank Miller. The artwork was by David, I'm going to butcher this.
Good luck.
Mazzucchelli. I hope I got that right. If I didn't, I apologize.
I think that sounds about 90% close anyway.
Okay.
I mean, it's not like it's hard to pronounce like McFarlane or something.
Oh, that's an easy one, yeah. Okay, this kicked off in 1986. It's with the regular ongoing Daredevil story, comic. It's a 7-issue story arc. Just the monthly Daredevil run. Really just came out of nowhere. Awesome storyline. I mean, of course, Frank Miller's Daredevil stuff was all fantastic stuff. And this ran through issues 227 through 233. And yeah, you could pick these up, at, fairly decent price. They're not like really highly sought after.
I think I was recently at one of our little local shows, comic convention, one-day show, and there was a guy that had almost every issue, and I was this close to buying them all. They were all between like $10 and $20 a piece. Mm-hmm. I kind of wish I did. I got some other stuff, and I sort of went over my budget for the day, so I didn't get them, but that is on my list of, 7 or 8
7
issues?
7 issues, yeah.
Yeah, it's easy to pick up.
Or pick it up in a trade. I have seen the Born Again storyline is in a trade paperback. So yeah, you can get this up, gobble this up pretty easily. Not a hard storyline to find at a good price. But I mean, I'm not going to get into any of the details because I don't want to spoil it for anybody that hasn't read it. But the basic overall storyline is Karen Page. She has become a junkie, and she sells, Daredevil's secret identity to the Kingpin, for a fix. And then the Kingpin is just systematically breaking down Matt Murdock's life, destroying his life because, of course, Kingpin hates Daredevil. And it's just this really great storyline about he rebuilds. He gets broken down and he has to rebuild himself, and he comes back even stronger as a result of this. It's this kind of like he's been forged in fire when he comes back, and it's just a really awesome storyline because I mean it's not a spoiler to everybody knows that he does come back as Daredevil, obviously.
He makes it.
Yeah, he does make it through this. But yeah, if you haven't read it, you definitely need to. It's a great storyline.
All right, I'll jump on to my number one. And Matt's probably going to debate me on this one because I tried to get him to read it very recently. The original Mirage Comics Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It's the thing that started an actual empire. In terms of like intellectual properties or franchises that were independent and grew into just a mega monolithic, holy cow, this is one of the biggest properties of all time. This is where it started. And yeah, I mean, I'll let Matt chime in to tell us why he kind of dipped out of it after an issue or two. But like, in my opinion, if you like the Turtles, it's not the same as modern day Turtles, but it's really cool to see where it all started.
Yeah, there's no disputing whatsoever that this was just a juggernaut of an IP kicked off in like the 90s with the films and everything. I enjoyed the films, absolutely. I mean, who didn't back in the 90s?
Yeah.
The costumes and stuff were just so dead on. I mean, they were
great.
The toys they make based on the movie characters sell really well because, I mean, they're really popular. Everybody has really fond memories of the Turtle movies, the live-action Turtle movies back in the day.
Yeah. And
even the cartoon with that banger of an intro,
Oh, man, that I could probably recite that whole song to you even till this day.
Yeah, super catchy, great intro song. But yeah, I had never read the original series. Guy loaned me, he's got a trade paperback of it. And I got about, I don't know, a quarter of the way into it, and it's just not for me.
It's goofy, it's silly, it's over the top, but
it is.
I love it.
It's just not for me. It's not my cup of tea. And hey, that's fine. For me to not enjoy something everyone else seems to, hey, that's okay.
Now here's the challenge. If you want to read the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle comics from Mirage in floppy form, big bucks.
Oh, yeah.
Very, very big bucks. Even like a third print of issue number 1 can easily go for hundreds, if not $1,000.
How many prints of the first issue are out there?
I have a 4th print, and that is very cheap. Inexpensive because it's a different cover.
Yeah.
There's 1st, 2nd, and 3rd prints of the original black cover that everyone loves. And then that goes to a 4th, which is a different printing. And I think there is even more subsequent to that. I'm not exactly sure. It might be 6, 7, 8. Then we get into like more modern, like free comic book day versions of it and stuff. And it just goes on and on and on. But here's what I would recommend. Either spend a boatload of money on the originals. If you have the money to do it, I will be envious of you forever. But my favorite format for this story arc, or, the first few issues anyway, is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Color Classics, because the originals were in black and white.
Yeah.
Yes, reading it in the black and white form and getting it exactly the way the artists, Eastman and Laird intended is cool. But that extra layer of color, and it's colored really tastefully, adds an element of depth, and it just keeps you maybe a little bit more engaged with it. When you read just a black and white comic, I don't know if you read many of them, it gets hard to read what's going on from panel to panel sometimes because of the lack of contrast and everything. The color really makes everything pop apart. So that's my recommendation, is pick up the trade paperback, the Color Classics version. That reprints issues 1 through 7, plus the Raphael micro series and the Michelangelo micro series. The Raphael micro series is, of course, the first appearance of Casey Jones. So yeah, that's what I recommend.
Okay, fair enough. All right, and my second pick is, again, a no-brainer. This is the X-Men: The Dark Phoenix Saga. That's an easy one. That's some low-hanging fruit, because that is just an amazing, amazing story arc. Came out in 1980. It's a 10-issue story arc from the monthly book, the monthly Uncanny X-Men title. Runs from issue 129 to 138. Anyway, this was, of course, Chris Claremont, John Byrne. John Byrne, my favorite comic artist ever. It starts off, Jean Grey's manipulated by Mastermind, and she joins the Hellfire Club as the Black Queen. And of course, that leads her to unlocking, the Phoenix, the Dark Phoenix Force, inside her in the ensuing battle. I mean, that's some really great stuff when Wolverine's in the sewer, and then he comes into the sub basement, and he has to fight those guys, and he's hanging from the rafters. Oh. I mean, you talk about just an absolute banger of an opening page on that issue where he's like hanging upside down.
I'll put a screenshot of it in the video. Man. Yeah, it's good stuff. John Byrne. Yeah. I mean, everything John Byrne did was amazing.
Amazing, yeah. A bunch of stuff happens, and she fights with the X-Men, beats them, leaves the planet, destroys a planet or like a sun. And of course, she comes back. The X-Men fight her again, and they think they've beaten the Phoenix Force inside her, and it's been suppressed or locked away. And of course, the Shi'ar show up because, she destroyed a sun. That's kind of a big thing. And then there's another battle. And
Shi'ar, that's where Lilandria?
Yeah, Lilandra.
Lilandra came from? Yeah, I remember that from the...
and you got the Imperial Guard. Those guys. So it's an amazing storyline, and so much happens in such a... it's 9 issues, and so much happens in that. It's insane. You're jumping in space, coming back to Earth. I mean, you got the Hellfire Club in there. There's big fights with them. I mean, and this is only 9 issues. You don't see stuff like this anymore. So much story compacted into such a short amount of time. It's crazy to think that all this happened in just a very short amount of time in 9 issues. You don't see stuff like that anymore. But that's just Chris Claremont's genius, But yeah, if you can pick this up, it's expensive. I mean, it's not cheap at all if you want to buy the individual issues. I think we did a investing in comics video
for $1,000.
For $1,000, and yes, you can get the Dark Phoenix Saga for $1,000 if you want the original issues in decent condition.
Not high grades or anything though. Reader copies.
Oh no, these are like higher grades.
Oh, okay, for $1,000.
For $1,000, because it's only 9 issues.
$100 a piece.
Well, some are cheaper than others.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's $1,000. Or I would recommend getting the trade, because there is, of course, a trade of this, which you can buy, pretty cheaply.
Sure.
But definitely fantastic story, fantastic artwork. And I mean, it's something people talk about today, and they even tried to make a movie about it, which was terrible.
I forgot about that one.
It was awful.
Yeah,
did not do this story justice at all. I don't know why they stray from the comic stories so far.
Yeah, that was right before they did like the new class era of those X-Men movies, wasn't it?
It was with Sophie Turner was playing Jean Grey, and she. I'm sorry, I don't.
Oh, that one. I thought it was the one with Famke still, where she like
they touched on it a little bit back then.
Yeah,
but then they redid it again with the Sophie Turner version of Jean Grey.
Yeah, I actually didn't watch that one. Now that I think about it,
I didn't get that far into the movie, and I'm like, this is absolute garbage. It was terrible, terrible. I wouldn't recommend anyone see that. Just act like it doesn't exist. Don't waste your time. But yes, that is my second recommend is the Dark Phoenix Saga.
Probably, maybe the best one on the list, if I'm being honest. Chris Claremont, we all love him. It's amazing. But I will try to follow that up with something that I think is great. And at this point in time, it feels weird to say it. I feel like it's a little bit underappreciated. I feel like in the last 10 or 20 years, it's lost a little bit of its panache. Mm-hmm. The Walking Dead, the first 100 issues specifically.
Yeah.
Robert Kirkman originally started with Tony Moore on artwork, then Charlie Adler.
Yeah.
Adlard.
Charlie Adler. Yeah.
And the first 100 issues of that was page-turning, nonstop, can't wait to see the next issue reading. And I mean, when we're talking about 100 consecutive issues of no stinkers, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Then the TV show came out, and it started off fairly strong, but, the season 4, season 5, it started to tank.
You know what? It really struck me about The Walking, because I watched The Walking Dead show, of course.
And read the comics.
I don't think it wasn't anybody that wasn't watching that show.
Yeah.
I mean, we would come into work the next day after an episode, and everybody wants to sit around and talk about The Walking Dead for, like an hour, a good hour.
Yeah.
Talking about the show, what happened in the episode previous night.
It was on every Sunday, wasn't it? It was a Sunday.
Yeah, it was AMC.
AMC Sundays.
But yeah, what really struck me about The Walking Dead is that, I mean, you don't know who's going to get killed next because they did not shy away from killing off main characters at any point. In the most trivial ways, like a zombie just happens to catch them off guard and they're dead.
Yeah.
I hadn't seen anything like that ever. You're killing off main characters consistently. You don't know who's going to survive from issue to issue. Who's
the one, and I think they changed it in the show, in the comics, shot with an arrow, like through the neck or something. It was in
Abraham.
That one, I remember when that happened, I was like, no, they did not.
Yeah.
They did.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was crazy.
And Glenn's death, they stuck to it. They kept it the same in the show as they did in the comic.
Well, they tried to play a little. Glenn's gonna die peekaboo with us.
Oh, with the dumpster thing. He hid under a dumpster
in the show. Yeah.
There are dumpsters that have like 2 feet of space underneath. Come on. But that was so cheesy. That was a huge bait and switch, which everybody noticed and everybody hated.
Oh yeah. So that's the thing about this, and I said I think The Walking Dead comic book series has become a little bit underappreciated in that the TV show did a very serious injustice to the story towards the end of it. They killed Carl at some point, I guess. I stopped watching the TV show at that point. I don't know. I think Rick died in the TV show. Now,
no. They left his death ambiguous. And with the thinking that, okay, there's a chance that he did survive because, they see the helicopter at the end or whatever.
Did you watch all of the show?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I checked out.
And then I even watched, they had a follow-up series where Rick is in fact alive. Spoiler.
Him and Michonne or something.
Him and Michonne and stuff. And that was just, it was dull as dishwater. That was so boring.
Yeah.
And it's all about him and Michonne getting back to their family and stuff. I'm like, God, yeah, it was. I watched all of it though, just because I want to say that I'm completed the story. But yeah, in the comic, they ended it very abruptly, and it was when Rick died. That was it.
I checked out of the comic shortly after issue 100. 110, 112, 115, somewhere in that ballpark.
They ended it really abruptly in issue, I want to say 192 or 193. So not even like an anniversary issue or anything. I'm not sure which one. It was 192 or 193, one of those two. Mm-hmm. But I have the full run. because I'm one of those guys. I'm a completionist.
Oh, you know where I kind of started checking out? They had a little like flash forward. They had Negan in like a makeshift jail in their new little community. Carl had a big gaping hole in his head.
Yeah.
And there was this weird spooky girl that Carl was like trying to kind of hit on and stuff.
Yeah. She was one of the Whisperers.
Whisperers, right.
Yeah.
That's around where I checked out. Whether or not you guys want to go beyond what I'm suggesting is up to you, but you cannot not love the first 100 issues. It's phenomenal. I mean, from the get-go, it's like this guy wakes up from a coma. Oh my God, that guy's like sleeping with this guy's wife. She thought he was dead. I mean, the drama is nonstop. It's really a great
And then you bring in this whole other community that is way more organized. They have like a military and stuff. And I'm going to be honest, that got kind of dull. But like I said, I had to see it through because I was super invested at that point. So I kept reading it every month. And then they started coming out like a bunch of variant covers and stuff. I'm like, here we go.
You remember issue 100's variant covers? Sweet.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it must have been 20 of them. And back in 2000, that would have been what, 2010, maybe 8, something like that. Like variant cover overload wasn't quite what it is today. So it was like, oh my God, I didn't get all of them, but I got quite a few.
Yeah, I'm not immune to that. Art Adams. I love Art Adams. And he did some variant covers for Walking Dead, and I bought every one of them because I'm a huge Art Adams fan.
Yeah.
I've only been able to get one piece from him. I'm hoping to get more.
All right.
He's a hell of a nice guy.
Well, let's wrap up. That was my number 2. Let's go on to your, let's see, 1, 2, 2, 2, your number 3.
Okay, yeah. Again, this is an easy one. Kingdom Come from DC. It's a 4-issue series back in 1996. It's 30 years old.
The good old days.
And it is absolutely a banger.
Was that the one that was like all hand painted by
Alex Ross? This is Mark Waid and Alex Ross. 4-issue series. I have it in. I didn't buy the first issues. I got it in a hardcover edition that came out, and I looked because I hadn't heard of it. I'm not a big DC guy. I hadn't heard of it. I saw it at a comic shop. It's real nice hardcover. Looked really nice. I look at it, I'm like, holy crap! Looks just the artwork alone is amazing. Had synopsis. I read the synopsis of the story. I'm like, okay, you got me. This is interesting. And I read it. Absolutely. It's an awesome series. It's like an Elseworlds future storyline where
it's like old Superman. Was that the story?
That's where you get the Superman with the black and red emblem on his chest with like the kind of like the lightning bolt looking S.
Right.
That's where that came from. But what happens is Superman's retired because he sees this new breed of heroes are coming in and they're a lot more like ruthless and bloodthirsty. And that seems to be what the people want. So they're getting all these more heroes that are a little more brutal than, his group had ever been. And this is what the people seem to want and like. He's like, well, you know what? Maybe my time is over, and he retires. But then things don't work out, of course. Some things happen. I'm not going to spoil it for you. And then Superman and some of the older heroes have to come back and fix things. It's a great read. I highly recommend it. Alex Ross is at his A game in this series. It looks amazing. The story is really good, really tight. You should definitely pick it up. Definitely.
Do you think, I haven't read it, but I'm familiar with it. But to me, when I saw it, it kind of felt like this is Superman's version of The Dark Knight Returns from the Frank Miller miniseries. Do you think there's like a parallel there at all, or is it just...
No, it's not nearly as dark as The Dark Knight Returns.
That's not. Because The Dark Knight...
There's a very different tone to it.
The Dark Knight, Batman's older, and then there's these like mutant gangs, and like everything's more like dangerous and more ruthless.
Very dark, very gritty.
Right.
This is not like that.
I thought maybe there was kind of a parallel there with this one, but...
No. It has a very different tone to it.
I'm definitely going to try to pick that one up, though. I didn't realize it was only 4 issues. You could blow through that one in
and even the hardcover, it's not thick at all. It's a good read. It's a really good read. Definitely pick it up.
All right, let's jump on to my number 3. This one was hard for me to pick. I wanted to pick a Spider-Man because Spider-Man is my favorite character, but we've talked about Spider-Man in previous shows when we discussed some of our favorite stuff. And, the Kraven's Last Hunt, I know we've already talked about that one. Spider-Man Blue, I know I talked about during that first required reading video we did, which is phenomenal. And I was like, you know what one I forgot about that I haven't read in ages? The Death of Jean DeWolf is the story arc from Spectacular Spider-Man 1985, issues 107 through 110. That was like an era of Spider-Man writing that you just don't see anymore.
Yeah.
Interestingly, written by the probably most well-known Incredible Hulk writer, Peter David.
Yes.
And
rest in peace.
Yeah, great.
We lost him. That was a loss. That was a big loss to the comic world.
He was phenomenal on the Hulk. I mean, someday I'm going to work on that series of Hulk comics, but
that's pricey.
But yeah, this story arc read more like a DC style Batman detective comics story.
It was a mystery.
It was, and Marvel doesn't do mystery stories.
Because of course I have these. I have very fond memories of this storyline.
This story kind of introduces the villain, the Sin Eater.
Yes.
Spider-Man's close friend, confidant, sort of like the, Detective Gordon to Batman, Jean DeWolf, the law enforcement officer detective, is to Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And, she's murdered by this Sin Eater bad guy. And it's just this not long, 4-issue story arc trying to figure out who this is.
Who is Sin Eater?
And no spoilers, but it was a little surprising when you found out who he was.
It was a surprise ending.
But yeah, what did you think about this one?
Yeah, I loved this little, it was a very brief little storyline. It's a mystery of like, who is the Sin Eater? And this guy, again, spoiler, he doesn't have any powers.
Yeah, just a serial killer.
He's just the guy who wears like this ski mask and this, this funky looking outfit.
I think in later years they kind of like jazzed him up a little bit.
They did.
But originally he just kind of looked like
he was just a dude with a double barrel shotgun.
Yeah.
That was it. He had no powers. It was just the mystery of who he was. Because, I mean, he was difficult to track down and find out who this guy was in Spider-Man. I mean, he had some moments, some dark moments in this series. He ended up having a little scuffle with Daredevil.
I forgot about that.
Yeah. That was good stuff. He was really questioning his own, morality and judgment and stuff. But Daredevil kind of set him on the right path in that brief little scuffle. But it's really good stuff. It is. Yeah, it's a really good read. A lot of you don't see anymore. Like these really ground-based, street level mysteries. Like you used to see a lot with Batman, where the best Batman stories are where he's trying to solve a mystery. Those are always the favorite Batman stories for me.
Yeah, just a detective, world's greatest detective story. Yeah. In contrast, though, for Spider-Man specifically, you're saying like, oh, you don't see this kind of like street level, grounded in reality stories anymore. Currently, I just read it, and I don't think it's the worst Spider-Man stories I've ever read, but this villain comes from out of nowhere named Hellgate, fights Spider-Man, and punches him into space. And he wakes up on some other planet. Like, it was so bizarre, disjointed, and confusing. I didn't understand what happened, and I had to like go back. I read another issue forward, and I'm like, what is he doing on this planet? They didn't even like explain it well.
Did he punch him like through a portal or something?
Who knows, man? Who knows? But like, my point being,
he would have had to have, because I hope
there was not a very clear explanation as to how he got punched into space, but he wakes up on another planet. It was bizarre. But point being,
okay,
I would much rather read a simple mystery of who killed him than I would about some giant alien guy that comes out of the middle of nowhere and punches Spider-Man into space.
Well, yeah, because it takes some time and thought to put into a story like that to unravel this mystery.
Yeah.
And I mean, this was a monthly title, so I mean, we're going to have to wait a month for more issues. Just really kept you on the edge of your seat. And then when that book was in the store, like, yes, and I remember like, especially during the Roger Stern, like, who is the Hobgoblin storyline, I wouldn't even get home. I would sit there and read it in the comic shop because I had to get a little more tidbits of like, who is the Hobgoblin?
Yeah.
It was the same kind of feeling to it.
But yeah, that's my, what are we on? 1, 2. That's my third recommendation of required reading, The Death of Jean DeWolf. I think they have in the past published it in a collected trade paperback edition. I don't believe that it's currently active, and actually even going back and finding the trade paperbacks can be a little bit costly.
You can buy these issues for next to nothing.
So that's what I would recommend, is go find Spectacular Spider-Man 107 through 110 and just buy the floppies. I think you'll be better off in the long run.
Yeah, you could get these for like a really, really low prices. All right, and next up is, for me, my required reading is Sin City. I mean, there's been 2 movies they made out of this stuff, so they got to be doing something right? This is, again, Frank Miller, And it had this real noir, gritty feel to it. It's black and white with some splashes of color depending on the storyline. Like that Yellow Bastard has splashes of yellow throughout it and stuff.
Yeah.
And like A Dame to Kill For has like red.
Didn't the Marv storyline have some red in it? I can't remember. It's been so long.
Well, that's the thing. They've had like many different series. This initially came out in 1991 under Dark Horse Presents. And so this was a Dark Horse comic by Frank Miller. There's been several storylines. I think it first came out in Dark Horse Presents 51 through 62.
Oh, so quite a few issues, actually.
Yeah, quite a few was the storyline. And
it wasn't just a little quickie. Like, I have a couple of the Dark Horse Presents Aliens books. Mm-hmm. It's like 2 consecutive issues, and then it's on to the next thing.
Yeah, this was a few. This was one story arc. That's what it is. These are all like story arcs that are 5, 6, or 7 issues. The length depends on the amount of time it takes for him to tell a story. And that's it. There's no filler issues here. The length of the run this is the amount of time it takes to tell this story, which you don't see a lot of today. Seems like there's a lot of filler in comics, which is just baffling to me.
Yeah.
But anyway, there's a lot. There's The Hard Goodbye, A Dame to Kill For, The Big Fat Kill, That Yellow Bastard, Family Values, Booze, Broads, and Bullets, Hell and Back. And all of these stories have like interconnected characters, like characters that are introduced in one storyline pop up in another one in a very minor role. So it's a lot of fun seeing this, like main character in one comic is now a backup character in another comic. That's a lot of fun. This whole interconnected universe of Sin City. The artwork is, technically not the greatest in the world, but it really fits the tone of the comic. Perfectly.
The thing about Frank Miller artwork, and we've discussed this, he's dropped off in recent years. He's been doing some cover art.
Oh, God.
That is not amazing.
Yeah, it looks absolutely terrible.
Even back in his prime, though.
I think he's got some health issues.
Everybody loses a step as they age. I don't think there's any, even if it's just aging, I don't think there's any shame in that. But what I would say about even in his prime, whether we're talking about the older, the Wolverine miniseries or something like this.
And you also keep in mind a lot of artists are helped out by great inkers.
Well, yeah, sure. But I just love his style because it's so, I say I love his style because what I want to say is it's so stylized. It's so recognizable. It's not like super realistic. It's not like the greatest anatomy of any artist. But Dark Knight Returns, for example, it's the stylization takes you to a different place.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It doesn't, it makes it feel like this is a fantasy world and not just like, my complaint with all of the Christopher Nolan Batmans. It's just Chicago.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? And I like that about Frank Miller. He takes you somewhere else and puts you in this like totally different mindset.
Oh yeah. That's why I'm a huge fan of the Gotham from, Batman 89, Tim Burton movies. His Gotham was... that was Gotham. That was Gotham City. It looked fantastic.
Yeah.
The city in the Tim Burton movies is a character in itself. But Sin City, fantastic stories. I was actually able to find these in a comic shop, and I've got the trades. I've got the original. I've got A Dame to Kill For, the original story. But that's all I had. The rest I had in trades, and I found all of these, every single one of them, in a comic shop. The guy. He said somebody had just brought it in, and he had priced them all out. And I bought these anywhere between $5 to $10 each. I thought, and they were in immaculate condition. I thought it was a hell of a find. I'm so glad I found them, and I have them in my all the original stories in my collection. I'm really happy. But yeah, if you haven't read these, you definitely need to.
I've read a little bit of some of them, but I should probably dive in and read them all. I know they're going to be good. There's no question.
A lot of fun stories.
All right, let's do, I've got my number 4, and then Matt will close it out with a number 5, so we have 9 total. I had a hard time picking this last one, and I'm going to be honest, the reason that I picked this one is not just because it's a good story. It's an okay story. I'm not going to say it's one of the best stories of all time. I was thinking about one of our more recent videos where we're talking about story versus art, and sometimes the art just pulls you in and it makes you want to read it. And this is an example of that. It's the Batman Hush story arc. from Batman issues 608
Yes.
through 619.
Jim Lee. Yeah.
Jeff Loeb's story. Jeff Loeb's a great writer,
Yeah.
no doubt. But the Jim Lee artwork
Yes.
is what sucked me into this one. This is, in my opinion, the best Jim Lee artwork on a concurrent monthly issue series, whatever you want to call it. Way better than the old X-Men. Way better than his stuff with Image. What was he doing then? Like Wildcats, I think was his book. I mean, this is peak Jim Lee artwork in my opinion. The story, it's a cool little Batman mystery. Every issue introduces different villains, which was kind of fun. It was like there's a Poison Ivy issue. There's a Killer Croc in the very first issue.
Yeah.
Joker, the Riddler, all of the issues. Every issue had like kind of a different main villain from the Rogues Gallery, which I enjoyed.
Sure.
The actual mystery of it, who is Hush? Who's this guy wrapped in bandages? Kind of a weird, kind of convoluted, kind of hard to follow story, in my opinion. But the art and just the diversity of all of the characters and everything still, in my opinion, makes it really, really worth reading. It's one of my favorite Batman series. And like most of the time, I'm going to say like story over art. But in this case, it's actually art over story. How to pick it up? Well, the single issues aren't horribly expensive, with an exception of a few of the alternate or variant covers. The second printing of 608 is ridiculously expensive. There's a couple of issues that have alternate covers. If you want to get those, you might pay some money. But you could buy what are we looking at here? 12 single issues for, under $100 probably. Or trade paperback. You can get the trade paperback of this for $20 or less.
All right, and to round it off, here we go. Is my final pick is a series called Sleeper.
I'd never heard of this one when you sent the list over.
Either. I had never heard of this. What happened was I was out of town with my wife.
I know you're a huge fan of the creative team.
It's Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips. I will buy anything these two crank out. Because I love this creative team. If you haven't read their Criminal series, you should do that. They keep cranking stuff out for Criminal. I think they're going to make a show out of it, which, hey, all right, awesome, great. But yeah, anything those two put out, I will definitely buy. But what happened was I was out of town with my wife, and she loves going to used bookstores.
Oh, yeah.
And in Jacksonville, they have this gigantic used bookstore, and it is huge. I mean, it's a maze. It's like this gigantic building, and the way they have the shelves set up. I mean, you could get turned around and lost easily. But yeah, they had a graphic novel section, which, if you go to a used bookstore, they're more than likely they're going to have some graphic novels in there. And they had the Trades of Sleeper. I had never heard of it before. And I saw it on the shelf. I saw Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips. I'm like, okay, you got me.
You were leaving with that no matter what.
Oh, yeah. And they had the trades, they had 4 of them, because this is a 24-issue series. Came out in 2003, and it was from the DC Wildstorm imprint. So that's why I had never heard of it. I buy like all their Marvel stuff, and then I found out about Criminal and from Image and stuff like that, and I started reading that stuff. And so I found this, and it's what it is. It was over 24 issues, and so it was in 4 trades. I got them for like a couple bucks each.
Can't beat that.
Yeah, for like $8. I got the 24 issue series, which I absolutely loved. And I ended up just pounding it out the whole time we were up in Jacksonville, and I read it within like a day.
All 24 issues?
Yes, because I was just, you hooked me. It was really good. It started off real strong. Of course, the art's great, the writing's great. And it's a story about this guy, Holden Carver. He is a sleeper agent who's infiltrated this superpowered criminal organization. And I'm not going to give any of it away. That's just, you learn that like reading the first couple pages. And just all the struggles that he has to go through and stuff. And none of these villains or stuff have like incredible cosmic level powers or anything like that. There is only one recognizable hero in the story. Other superheroes do show up that they have to contend with, but they don't even name them. They don't even call them by name.
Oh, yeah.
There's only one that shows up towards the end of the series. And I'm not going to spoil that either. And he's only there very briefly, and they kind of manipulate him into this, helping them in this scenario that Holden gets dragged into. But yeah, if you haven't read Sleeper, you absolutely should. It's a really, really fun read. It's not for kids. for sure.
Yeah.
A lot of gore, a lot of swearing, a lot of not a lot of nudity, but there's nudity.
In a DC comic?
Well, it's off Wildstorm.
Okay, still though.
Wildstorm
I mean, Vertigo, I guess, is kind of like the imprint.
Yeah, there's it's not for kids. So yeah, no, don't pick this up for your 10-year-old. But yeah, I would highly, highly recommend you pick up Sleeper. It's great. And you can, I found mine at a used bookstore for nothing, and I'm sure you can find yours really, really cheap. I haven't priced the individual issues because I have the trades and I'm happy with that.
Nice. Now, before we sign off, I want to do one other thing, and I'm going to spring this on Matt. He didn't know I was going to do this at the end. I don't want, I say I don't want people to complain that all we did was name off back issues that are 20, 30, and 40 years old. I know it's going to happen, but what I want to do here is I want to suggest a couple of honorable mentions of current stuff that we would also recommend. But here's the problem. The people that are going to complain are never going to get 40 minutes into this video to hear this part of it. So we're going to have to get the complaints anyway. But I can at least say in the comments, watch the end. So for me, my honorable mention of current comic book that is absolutely 100% worth reading. We've talked about it numerous times in the past. Conan the Barbarian by Titan Comics. Great, great, great current stuff.
Yes.
You can get it on the newsstand. Well, newsstand, I use that term lovingly for the days gone by, but get it from your comic book stores or whatever. And highly recommend. I'm not all the way current on it. I think I'm about 16 or 17 issues into it. I think that they're currently on issue 24, 25, 26, somewhere in that.
29 just came out.
Okay, so yeah, yes. I'm not totally caught up, but I can at least attest to the first 16 or so issues being awesome.
Yes.
And again, I didn't tell you about this. I wanted to throw it in at the end and surprise you and catch you flat-footed. What would you recommend as a current title, current series that people could check out?
Conan is amazing.
Yeah, absolutely.
I agree with you 100%. That's a monthly book I pick up without fail. Great, great stories. Really comes off the tone of the old, Conan series from Marvel from the 70s into the 80s. Highly, highly recommended. If you're not reading Conan, you should be.
Has very reminiscent artwork you'd mentioned in the past.
Very reminiscent
Buscema.
Artwork of John Buscema, who's, again, one of my favorite artists from Marvel back in the day. Amazing artwork. He really seems like Jim Zub's the writer, and he's absolutely nailing it.
Yeah, killing it on that title.
Killing it on that title, for sure. I think he's really, really found his calling in writing Conan. And the artwork, they seem to be very careful about who they choose for the artwork. It seems very reminiscent of the John Buscema artwork. And it really keeps with the tone of the book. And it's really fun read. If you're not reading Conan, read Conan, definitely. And it's easy to jump on at any point. They do have story arcs, but they're very short.
4 issues usually, I think.
2, 3, 4 issues. It's easy to jump into. Really fun read. I would also recommend...
No, wait, let me guess. I want to... Because I caught you off guard with this. I think I know what you're going to suggest as your current title.
What do you think?
Is it Geiger?
Yes.
I knew it.
Absolutely. Geiger is awesome. You need to be reading Geiger.
Very good. I read the first, Matt let me borrow the first story arc, trade paperback. Very, very impressed. It was great. It was great.
Yeah. It's a really good story from Ghost Machine, which is like an Image imprint. Pick up Geiger. Really, really cool stuff. Really fun stories. It's just this guy wandering the wasteland, Geiger. I'm not going to tell you anything about it whatsoever. You just need to go get it yourself. And I'm sure if you go online and read the reviews of it and stuff and what other people are saying about Geiger, you'll see it's a big recommend from just about everybody that's read it. And what else do I read? Oh, I read Hyde Street. Hyde Street, again, from Ghost Machine. Those guys are killing it. The whole team behind Ghost Machine, the people their stable of creators that they have are just really, really good. Huge talent that they have there. I'm really enjoying Hyde Street. That's a really good stories, great artwork, great characters, really, really developed really well. And that's another big recommend from me.
One more for me, if we're going to do 2 apiece for current stuff. The new Transformers is quite good. I've been enjoying that. They did this thing where they're like doing the Energon universe now, where it's trying to tie in Transformers, G.I. Joe, and Mask, I believe.
Mask, wow.
I think that's supposed to be tied into it as well. So that's cool. I didn't pick up Transformers on issue 1. It's on issue 28 or so right now. I've been reading since that Energon Robert Kirkman taking over the writing at issue 25, and it's definitely cool. You could check that out if you're an 80s kid like me and you just liked the toys and the cartoons from back in the day.
Yeah, I loved the Mask toys. Those were so cool.
Oh yeah, those are
and
great.
Somebody actually bought the rights to the old toys and they reproduced them. Just the set of 4 of the toys. And of course I bought those.
Yeah, I kind of want
I had to.
I want the Matt Tracker Camaro with the
with the
flip up the doors.
The jets come out the back, and
yeah.
Oh god, I love those. I had so many of those when I was a kid. They're long gone. I destroyed those things. But yeah, I bought the new ones that came out, and they recreated the packaging perfectly. Very cool, very cool. Those are on my shelves at home. I haven't taken them out of the box. Because ultimately, I would like to display them outside of the box with the box behind it, But I gotta figure that out. I got a lot of things going on at home.
All right, well, yeah. So I just wanted to throw in a couple of current things so that people didn't accuse us of being old men that only care about stuff that was written 30 plus years ago.
This is just one video, and we're gonna be making more.
Yeah.
So we'll get around to stuff you like too. So. Don't worry.
Unless we don't like it.
Yeah, unless we don't like it. Unless your taste is garbage.
But all right, we'll wrap this one up for today. Leave your suggestions down in the comments below. What would you suggest as required reading for somebody that maybe hasn't heard of it or hasn't read it yet? We love hearing from you guys and love hearing your suggestions.
I love hearing about some good recommendations for stuff that I'd never even heard of. Like Sleeper was a great find for me.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, that'll do it for today. As always, let me say thanks again for tuning in and watching. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe. Here's another little announcement that everyone's going to miss because it's the end of the video, but we are almost at 10,000 subscribers. Yes. What does that mean? Well, that means that we have a giveaway that is probably going to be, given away in the next few weeks. If you've been watching the videos for a while, I'm sure you've seen it, but we have a complete set of Wolverine, the limited series, issues 1 through 4, for one lucky viewer.
And who's that by? Who's the creative team on that?
It's that one guy that one guy, you might have mentioned his name once or twice.
Oh, what was it?
Frank Miller.
Yes.
And Chris Claremont.
Yes.
So you can win this, but here's the bizarre thing. I was telling Matt about this yesterday. I did a video last week that announced the giveaway officially, and the requirements for the giveaway are you have to watch that video and leave a comment in that video. And something like 2,500 people have already watched it, but only like 400 people have left comments. I don't really understand why you wouldn't just say hello or something so that you're entered in the giveaway, but
yeah,
make sure you watch that video and leave a comment and you will be eligible for the giveaway. It's 2 or 3 videos old, so it's easy to find.
Yeah, I'm going to create a fake account to leave comments on.
Don't give people ideas, Jesus. Now I'm going to have to go through 100 extra comments because you just gave everybody a bad idea. Don't do that. That would be wrong. But yeah, let's wrap it up. And again, thanks for tuning in and watching. And yeah, as we always say, keep collecting comics, keep supporting your local comic book store if you got one. Wish we had one, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
And keep watching our videos. Keep clicking that like button. Keep clicking that subscribe button if you haven't. And until the next one, bye now.
Bye.